extension leave.
Don't say that.
Yeah, that is that like the PC one?
Yeah, it's lit up now.
Yeah.
I'm learning to not really shouldn't plug that in 3 hours before.
No,
Because it turns itself off. This I can turn on 3 hours before, and it's quite
forward. Gets forward and then goes to sleep.
So we've got sound, but we haven't got camera.
yeah, it's just
Thinking, flashing.
the eyes and things. It's just behind.
Okay. Hang on, right, okay. Should be working now. Okay,
Okay.
any second now.
Oh, there you
Good. Right. Thank you for attending this meeting of the Billingshurst Centre Committee on today, the very warm day, 27th of May 2026. Chairman's announcements. This meeting is being streamed to the internet, so please speak loudly and clearly. Please raise your hand if you wish to speak, and please can only one person speak at a time. Mobile phones must be switched off or silenced. Right, item number 2. Apologies for absence.
Received, Chairman, from Councillor Benger for an approved reason.
I propose to accept. Any seconders? Marie, thank you. All in favour? Thank you very much. To receive declarations of interest and notifications of changes in members' interests. Have we got any declarations? No, brilliant, thank you very much. Approval of the minutes from the last meeting, 29th of April 2026, previously circulated. Any comments, questions, proposals? No, proposes any seconders?
I'll second that.
Trevor, all those in favour? Thank you very much. Approved. Clerk's report.
I've got the lecture report, Chairman, here. Manager's reports will be covered everything.
Yeah. Approved. Thank you. Public session. Members of the public are welcome to attend this meeting and speak for a maximum of 3 minutes about an item on the agenda for this meeting at the discretion of the chairman. There's no one here today, but again, always welcome to come and attend. Item 7, approve payments and note receipts for April 2026. That is Appendix A. Any comments, questions, proposals? I did have oh sorry, go for it.
It's just a column, Chairman. We have 2 pages of something called sales receipts, which I'm sure are warranted. It doesn't actually give us very much in the way of information other than
The page, the reference numbers.
this is pages. Anyway, it's after it's over the page from the list of checks. Payments. I'm just wondering if is there any? Well, I was going to say, is there any virtue in it? Yes, there is virtue in it, as much as it tells us that we are getting income, but don't give us very much in the way.
Chairman, with due respect to members, I've explained to members before several times that this is all it will produce. If the members wish, I can print off each one of those pages. See, this is the problem. It's a problem with the system. I think I totally agree with Councillor Bates. It's totally meaningless. But this is the best I can do, unless you want to print off every page, which I'm happy to do. And if members want me to waste money, or I can email it to members.
Why do we not just do a sum? Do we, if all we're getting is sales receipt page, why don't we just do a sum of income rather than all of this? Because this isn't, as Philip says, this isn't useful.
If I may, what you mean, Councillor Montoya is suggesting we just do a report saying last month's income was 3329.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I look at it both ways. I completely respect that, because actually what then you get is the total income. But what it's also quite good to see the higher income and the low. So we're actually seeing numbers, the amount. So if you could go to the next level and say, total income from this amount of piles. That might be better.
Do a summary of, the
Yeah.
income
More of a
stream.
informative report. yes.
Yeah, I think that,
Okay,
that
we'll have
I
a
think that's
play.
absolutely
Summary
right.
of the income
We still, yeah, we still need to
stream.
have the information.
Yeah. Summary of
The income stream.
general hire income, and then you've got counter sales, fine.
The income stream.
Okay.
And then anything over and above that, like grants or.
Yeah, and I think anything more than that goes into the manager's report anyway. So when we're getting kind of, repeat customer and that kind of thing, it's fine. I think, I think you're absolutely right. I just want that next level.
Yeah, basically, just
I'd say that page.
everything that says sales receipts is where it's been invoiced, so that is virtually rents, hires.
Yes, yeah.
But we'll have a play.
I think that's good. Thank you. That's a very, very good point, councillors. I did have one question, mainly because I saw in the manager's report about the television purchase.
Yes.
Was that purchased in May? Or was that before?
Hasn't been paid for it.
Just interested.
We haven't had an invoice.
Okay. Rough price?
It's a fit. I've got in my head £3,000 supply and fit.
Thank you. See that, I'm sure we'll see that in May or June.
May I ask a question? And it's the idiot question because I don't know enough about this and how it works. Where we're having stuff like that refitted to the centre, are we applying, as trustees, are we applying for grants for any of that work from various Sussex places?
If I may assist,
So that-
Chairman, good question. Basically, obviously improving multimedia has been on the trustees' council's wish list for the centre for some time. This is where the sort of centre staff work with the parish council staff. Parish council officers apply for section 106 monies from the district council. So the centre will pay the bill and then the centre will then invoice the district council to be reimbursed for that section 106 project.
So for other items that need doing, would we look at grants that might be available, or are we always going back to the district council for that kind of stuff?
Sorry, if I may, Chairman, obviously, section 106 monies are the obvious first port of call to support improvements here.
Yeah.
It doesn't always tick their boxes. But obviously, for example, they wouldn't pay for the refurbishment of the chairs. They did draw down maximum funds for the improvements of the toilets, the automatic doors, and extension of the hall. So broadly, if it's an improvement, it ticks a box. If it's replacing something, in theory, in the perfect world, you should budget to replace anyway. They say, well, you should be budgeting to replace that because that's wear and tear.
And we'll talk about maintenance in the past about having that kind of budgeted in as well. So I think that is it's a fair point. I think that's definitely a conversation for kind of budget planning in the future as well, about making sure these things are earmarked, because there are things that we will talk about this, for instance, like the need to think 2 or 3 years ahead to say, right, this is when this has reached its reasonable lifespan, and we need to think about that in the future. But it's absolutely fair. But I mean, if there are grants available, then obviously we should be looking into them.
Well, if you're happy, I will take an action away to look at the Sussex Community Fund, because I think they might be able to help with some of the media stuff. But until I look into it a little bit more, I don't know.
Contributions regularly received. That's a nice, relatively straightforward local
Yeah.
as well.
Appreciate it, thank you.
I make that just because we are effectively local authority driven. That doesn't always bode well because they assume they've got lots of money and you can preset for it.
Well, yeah, there is.
But the centre is run with trustees, so we are effectively the trustees for the centre. But in this meeting, we're not parish councillors, are we?
Correct.
Technically.
Yeah.
So as trustees, we should be looking to fund that money where we can, and if there are grants available, we should be using those.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's look into that if we can.
I think we need an approval. Is there any more comments on?
I just picking up on the last point, it is important to bear in mind we are not trustees.
trustees are
We
in
are,
that.
we are not trustees, we are parish councillors, even that's meeting.
And that's because the council is the trustee,
Yeah.
not the collective.
I think the correct definition is you are therefore representatives of
Yeah.
the trustee.
Can I have a proposal, anyone want a proposal to accept these? Yeah, thank you. Marie seconded, all those in favour? Everyone, thank you very much. Item 8, note bank reconciliation, co-op current account, NFB, NatWest account, NFC, we'll take them together. Any comments or questions around this PLC?
That's very statements.
I've got nothing there. So, duly noted, thank you very much. Note debtors, appendix 9. I smile because it always gets in that part of the meeting. So we look at the dates, yeah. Period.
It's whittling down
Yeah.
a bit.
The manager's been doing some work on this side, showing that virtually most of the owed income is actually from invoices issued this year. So I've said we'll have something on the next agenda perhaps, because ideally the committee needs to agree if it's going to write off any historic debts that doesn't think are worth pursuing by virtue of effort, etc. So that should be the next agenda.
Thank you, much appreciated.
So if it helps, Chairman and Mr Clerk, I did notice the name Kimber appears on page 1, just below halfway.
Hang on.
2 entries. Two entries, the difference of which is £1.42, and 1, 2, 3, 4 lines below it is Kimber again with a credit of £1.42. So those three should cancel each other out. Just 3 items left.
It means one less piece of paper.
Any progress helps.
Yeah, reconciliation.
Absolutely.
There we go, thank you.
Might go on 2 pages of this. right?
That's what I mean.
Leave it there.
Be
If I
helpful.
strip the font down, I'm going to read it wrong.
Anything else on the debtors? Noted, thank you very much. Item 10, consider whether the 2025-26 centre accounts should be inspected by an independent examiner or should have a full audit. And we've got the year end March 26 attached to appendix E.
Chairman, if I may just to explain the benefit, particularly of new accounts, charity law stipulates that a charity of our turnover only needs independently looked at accounts. But the council has taken a decision some years ago that the trustee should take the view as to whether to have the independent examination or a full audit, which of course would cost a lot more. So that's why this is now on the sort of standing summer item before we appoint accountants to do our end of year accounts, whether the members are happy with the usual independent examination or want to go the full Monty and have a full
No,
audit.
certainly not.
That makes sense, hopefully.
Okay, any other comments?
I would say the independent examiner is quite enough. I mean, when you think of turnover, I think the accounts I look after that are 3 times that, and we only go for an independent assessor with Preston Reeves, and they're
Okay, any other viewpoints?
waste of money to go that next step when it's not necessary.
I'm just wondering whether we are in the position, I mean, we're in a position certainly to recommend whether we have an audit or happy with an independent examiner. But is it not the council itself that has the decision to make?
It's a recommendation.
So I should make it clear in the through you, Chairman, make it clear just to make a recommendation. Yes, sorry, my apologies. Chairman, just for the benefit, I think it is worth having this annual discussion, because let's suppose, I don't know, let's suppose we've got £10 million in the bank, which would be rather nice, and all of a sudden 5 million vanished. members would rightly be raising eyebrows and thinking, oh, there's something going on here. I think on this occasion you need something more thorough than you would ordinarily. But it would be nice to be in that position. I think so. It's quite worth doing just for that alone.
Any other comments on that? Do I have a proposal then?
I propose that we recommend to council that the independent examiner is sufficient on this occasion.
Okay, so I have a seconder. Paul, all those in favour?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then to receive, so item 11 is to receive the manager's report, appendix E. Sorry, appendix F. Appendix E, F. Yeah, E. So yeah, sorry, that's appendix F is the manager's report. Any comments around Dan's report on him?
I have one question on the finance section. It says the NatWest Bone Save account has now been closed and funds transferred. This means we are now able to clear most outstanding invoices. The question I've raised is there a timeline on that? Is he just doing it?
Chairman, if I might, it's been done.
Oh, it's been done.
Yes. When we get those bank reconciliations you just noted towards the end of April.
There's been some-
Yeah, so that's been done in the last week as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else?
There's the NatWest Bank account in there to the,
I'll be silent.
something in May showing naught, if anyone wants to prove it.
A couple of things from me. Noted the breakfast ballot was particularly well received by people I spoke to. And yeah, agreed. We kind of demonstrated that centre how important this area is to the wider community. It's a shame that obviously there are more than one polling station, so not everyone gets the opportunity to do it. But thank you very much for the centre for putting that on. I also spent some time in the last couple of days looking at the Billingshurst Centre website, which is now live. It's very good indeed. I really like, you see the repeat customers, you see the classes on there, but also the live calendar as well, which actually you can see if you go into it, how truly busy the centre is. And we can obviously more discussions that we had around that. And obviously noted around the smart television earlier, which is excellent as well. And then yeah, my only obviously noted obviously that the bank account had closed. So that's just my thoughts. No one else got anything else to add? In which case, date of next meeting is Wednesday the 24th of June 2026. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Never move. Chairman?
Well,
barbecue we've got, gas one.
But we've got Weber or something, or you've got one of those eggs.
Outback.
Yeah. I used to have a little
Right,
do
good
with that.
evening, everybody, and welcome to the Finance and General Purposes Committee meeting today, Wednesday, 27th of May, 2026. This meeting is being streamed to the internet, so please speak loudly and clearly. Please raise your hand if you wish to speak, and please only one person speak at a time. Mobile phones should either be switched off or silenced. Apologies for absence.
Chairman received for councillor Bengler for an approved reason.
Thank you. Propose to accept. Seconded by Craig. Those in favour? All in favour. Thank you. To receive declarations of interest and notification of changes to members' interests. Paul,
Item 7, because my wife's an employee of the council.
thank you. Any other notifications? No? Thank you very much. Public session. Members of the public are welcome to attend this meeting and speak for a maximum of 3 minutes about an item on the agenda for the meeting at the discretion of the chairman. Let's give their name. We have no members of the public, but they are welcome any time in future meetings and watch us deliberate. Minutes, item 5, minutes of meeting held on the 29th of April, previously circulated to confirm and sign as a correct record. Any comments? No? Any proposals? Great
Propose to accept.
Second,
Chairman.
Trevor, those in favour? Thank you very much. In favour? Right.
Yes, Chairman, just have one update.
Yes.
Members will recall that at last, actually 2 council meetings, it was on the agenda at the district council's forthcoming community governance review, where they're looking at combining parishes, making wards, changing numbers of councillors, all that sort of stuff. You recall, and members had no comment. But I did receive a interesting email from a West Chiltington Parish Council recently saying they'd looked at it and they thought that it would tidy up their boundary if the boundary with West Chiltington in the vicinity of Abersain came along Abersain Lane to the crossroads and then went down, which would, for tidying up, of course. But they basically said, what would our reaction be? So I said that includes most of the properties in Abersain, totaling 18, and I suspect if it was a formal proposal, all the residents and the council would actually very much my initial thoughts. But it turns out they've sent similar Chairman there.
Noted.
What a devious mind some people have.
I know it straight away.
Well, it's a valid comment. Thank you for that interjection.
No worries.
I did say, Chairman, not to be stupid, but I did say that I'm ordinarily all for tidying up things.
Of course.
Can we tidy anything up there then?
Right, item 7, approve payments and note any receipts of appendix A. Any comments or questions? I have a couple. The first item, work nest. Training mileage, £6,000.
Chairman, if I may.
Seems rather excessive.
That actually, basically, this is what happens when you pay several invoices. basically we pay work basically most of that per year as a retainer basis to advise on health and safety and HR. But obviously there was a second or third invoice, and this report only picks up the narrative for the third invoice. We've had this before, but I can assure you that it's not training mileage, and I happily provide a breakdown to members.
Right.
Pens.
There's a strange reimbursement due for a new session tweeted verse.
That is because, Chairman, he only accepts back payments. We're not quite there with our online banking yet, so I just pay it and then reimburse him.
We will shortly the end, isn't it?
End of August is the deadline, I think, Chairman.
Right. Any other comments?
No, thank you.
No? Okay, thank you. And so,
I suppose we approve.
fine, thank you. Seconded by Marie. All those in favour? Thank you very much.
Give council variation. Oh, is it? Thank you.
The ball goes out. Item 8, to note, cash book reconciliations, appendix B and appendix C.
Someone refurbished the chairs.
Any comments, observations? The unpresented check to Tyco Fire.
That has now been paid in, apparently. I'll chase that one.
Remind me what that was for?
That's a subsidiary of Johnson Controls ref CCTV.
Oh. Thank you very much. May I accept these as noted? Thank you very much. Accept silence as being acceptance. And item 9, to note the debtors on appendix D10.
Those, as I reported earlier, Chairman, have largely been cleared now. So hopefully at the next meeting you shouldn't see much on the debtors list.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So, and has anybody got any other
Credit
comments? Duly noted, thank you. Appendix E, to review the grants policy. Perhaps you could remind us, Mr. Clark, why we are now
Okay, basically just
evaluating.
to remind members why this is on the agenda again. So basically, up until a year ago, councillors used to consider grant applications at any time during the year at any FGP meeting. And then, I can't remember what happened, but then members did quite a big review over a year ago or something, and decided to try and do it slightly more strategically and consider grant applications in April and September. So that kicked in last April, and no one applied. Well, very few people applied. I think 1 or 2 people applied for the April, and then no one applied in September, leaving a rather large amount unclaimed. So members decided to say, well, rather than this lot go back to reserves, we will consider again in March or February just gone, one final time, because they felt sure there must be lots of good causes out there who could use a few pennies. And lo and behold, we had an avalanche of applications. So members spent some considerable time on that in February. They deferred quite a few that they didn't think were a priority, stroke hadn't supplied certified accounts. and awarded some and sort of deferred some to the new year. So that at least emptied the grant pot for last year in February. And then this year, for the April meeting, there was lots of new applications, plus ones that have been deferred from the previous meeting. So we seem to be kicking this ever-growing snowball down the road, into the correct metaphor. So clearly, I think members felt that they did need to review this yet again, because it's the laws of unintended consequences. Whether perhaps members need to keep it, go back to as it used to be, keep it as it is, or perhaps do it. I mean, personally, I thought that last time with the grants, members looked at all the applications, not on them go, could take a holistic view and prioritise them. I thought that was quite a really good exercise, but that's what all the councils do. It's obviously down to councils. So that's the backdrop to this. So members want to look at it again. Pardon me, Sydney.
Craig.
So, admittedly, I was one of the people that pushed for the 6-monthly review. Again, consequences of action, because of not wanting people to miss out throughout the year based on missing out on that first run. But having now tried that way, it didn't work, and I would much prefer to do as we have done this year, where we've exhausted the budget in the way it should be done. You know, it was very well marketed, and I felt that it feels like we've kind of come full circle. We tried something different, it didn't work. We can hold our hands up and say we'll go back to the way before. That's my view. To hold my hands up and say it didn't work.
I prefer the old system, I must admit. I thought the old system worked better, personally. I know we were quite unusual in doing that system, so I'm not suggesting it was perfect, but I think it started to get complicated when we changed things, in my view. I think with the old system, possibly people applied when and if they needed the money. If we're in a position they're told to apply, right, that month we've got X amount of money, apply for it, they're almost like applying if they don't need it, perhaps, I don't know. But I just felt the old system was better, basically.
I mean, to a certain extent, it's a bit of an academic exercise for this year, because the pot has been exhausted anyway.
Indeed.
So the idea of having a second tranche or second go at it would fall away. To what extent have we publicised this second opportunity?
Well, there isn't a second opportunity this year.
No, it's cool.
Yeah, but if the public who might be considering making an application in the second half of the year make an application, they're all going to be very disappointed.
Well, funny enough, Chairman, I've already had one, maybe two groups say, oh, what's your grant process this year? And I said, well, sadly, there's no money there. But I'll let you know if there's any change in that.
All right.
Because I think following up on that, we've kind of contradicted ourselves a little bit. We've said we're going to go to 2 yearly, but we've put ourselves in a position we can't do that. So we've got to break our own new policy because we've kind of used all the money on the first application.
Exactly.
I was thinking that there's some ways we could have refined the system as we changed it to, and we could have limited ourselves to £2,500 for the April edition and £2,500 for the September edition of the meeting, which may have proven a little bit better. I think we have a relatively limited grant pot. And I think, £5,000 a year, as soon as you have one person going for £3,000, which our policy does encourage by mentioning £3,000,
Yes.
You're giving an idea of what kind of level of grant we might be offering. And if £3,000 is 3/5 of our pot, it feels of our annual pot, it feels like a huge amount to give away at once. So I'd be in favour of either trying for another year, but obviously this year is a bit moot, but try for another year with 2 pots, or we go for just one annual pot and just go, there's £5,000 a year, and have our policy adjusted to say, and we limit individual grants to no more than £500, which may get more of the smaller people in the community, smaller organisations in the community involved in applying for a grant, rather than large pots for £3,500 or whatever. So I'm more in favour of a singular or dual system where rather than every month, because I think it gets a bit, I don't think it worked particularly well before personally, but I think there is a way of doing what we have done better than we have been. The other thing I wanted to say, as I have the opportunity, is on item 5, the grant policy. The third sentence is where a grant is given for the purchase of capital item or works, payment is made upon receipt of a copy of a paid invoice for at least the amount requested. Is that actually what we do?
Yes, I do it.
Okay,
If someone's asked for money towards something, they do not get that check
right.
until I've got a copy of the paid invoice, because that's general standard practice.
So standard recipe to wait for them to.
I mean, there's one at the moment that you awarded grant to, whenever it was, back in last month. I've not sent them money yet because I've not had their certified accounts, and that is the grant policy.
Okay.
So it's been raised, it's on the payments list, but that check is not leaving this building until I've had that certification. I'm not asking them that.
So they have to have spent the money before we reimburse them.
For projects, capital projects, yes.
Forgive me then, but on that, Steve, and I've not, it might be in here, I don't go through it all now, but do we put a time limit on when people are willing to do that then? It's can't leave it open indefinitely, can you? Before you re-release the funds to somebody else, might you?
I mean, if I may, Chairman, there's an interesting one that's currently in an earmark reserve. You awarded a grant 2-3 years ago for some kind of, I'll call it a matchbox, soapbox derby project at Weald School. That's 1,500 quid. And I've said to him, will you still need this? And he says, yes. Because they're still waiting for funds to come by places. So that's in the earmark reserves, waiting for them to need it.
I mean, 3 months wouldn't be unreasonable, would it?
I don't think so, I think that could be a policy. Part of it.
Absolutely.
Sorry, me again.
Yes.
It's also, I find it hard to talk too much about the grants policy, but we're not thinking about the seal side of things as well, because we did for a couple of years have seal money. And as soon as we stopped having the option of granting seal money, then of course our applications for our funding increased. Do we know what the situation is with that? I know there seems to be historically, for the last few months, nothing available. Is that likely to free itself up? Is money going to be coming down from somewhere else?
Despite a feeling that the villages being surrounded by new houses, there have been virtually no new completions for the last year or so. That's why we've had no seal money. But I suspect once it starts up again, the money will flow.
So is there a case for just leaving it as it is for the moment and seeing how we progress through the next year or so?
I don't like it staying as it is.
No.
I think it's, for me, it's either one or two things. I think Craig nailed it. We either go one, or we split the budget in half and go 2 and 2. But I think it's more pertinent. I quite like your point about limiting having a cap on the bit as well, because I do think that makes it easier for us to reach more people as well.
We saw some very unreasonable requests
Yeah.
this year. And if we have a cap on it, it will stop some of those unreasonable requests.
But they're only unreasonable because people don't know. So, you know, we just have a grant policy, but no one knows that we have a £5,000 grant limit. Yeah, I think like that's our budget for it. And I think so we could do a better job of steering people with the kinds of grants we're looking to support in the local community in a positive way. So I don't think people are to blame per se, but I think we can definitely do a better job of demonstrating what we're looking for.
How long has it been, £5,000?
How long has it been?
Yeah, how long has it been at £5,000?
Chairman, well, I think it's several years. I think before that was about 4 or something, so it has come up a little bit. Chairman, the other thing I had an issue with was this deferred. We had a really good meeting in February, and you deferred lots of them, and so we look at that in April. So I had to photocopy all the applications again, and it seemed rather laborious and cumbersome. Yes. I know councillors naturally don't like saying no to very good causes, but it did seem to be very untidy.
So we're looking for a proposal here to a change. So if I want to do that then, I mean, bearing in mind everything that we've discussed, my proposal would be to have 1 per year with a cap of 500 per application. So we're looking for maximum
Yeah.
So that's one proposal, and Craig would like to,
I'm happy, no,
you're happy to go with it?
Yeah.
Okay. Are we?
I would second Craig's
Yeah.
proposal.
Right,
Team Craig.
those in favour of this
Okay.
proposal?
I think that's fine. So just to clarify, Chairman, so that's, you will consider all applications once during the year?
Yeah.
Are we looking at mid-financial year-ish, September-ish then, what? I don't know.
I think at the beginning of the financial year, people would have done their budgets.
I think, yeah, April's
Okay.
fine.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want it to go much further than that, because we'll be 18 months before we're actually dishing out any more.
And the council will not consider applications of more than 500 quid, or the ward no more than 500 quid, is that the same thing?
Yes, no, you won't award them.
500.
Yeah.
Because they can't, you know,
So that means in theory, you would give 10 applications, 500.
500 quid.
Yeah.
If we don't give 500 quid because somebody doesn't need it, then we could give more.
That's why I stopped short of saying 10 applications, but I thought about it.
And we'll look at that in April, okay, brilliant.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you for that. That's okay.
Thank you very much. That's a useful discussion. Right. And item 11, then, update on appendix F on 83 High Street. I think the assistant clerk has done a very good job here. Very good job. And he is inviting us just to note this report. The clerk has added his own information about VAT and the option to tax or not to tax. I don't propose to put on a satirical hat and try and go through the VAT legislation.
It's actually quite interesting.
Yes, I mean, at least said about that, but that's really. It seems that in future we can reclaim VAT on non-rent income or expenses.
Yeah, I mean, a good example would be when we spent some money 2-3 years ago on the CCTVs and sofas and that. That would have been a good opportunity to reclaim the VAT on. I'm not sure I could be minded to go back that far, and I can do it. I've got 4 years to do that, so I might do it.
The only question I had was, you say in future reclaim VATs. Is it your view that it would be a rather tedious and
No, because I
In
think
the-
I
in the
understand
end.
it. No, I'm not going to fiddle around with utilities. That would be a complete nightmare. I don't understand VAT just on a domestic utility bill, because trying to split it in a portion would be a nightmare. But basically, if we're spending money on the downstairs, stroke stuff for the youth facility, stroke, for example, for the youth suddenly became added back to their fees, we could reclaim all of that. So I've got it in my head what we can and can't do.
and is it in your mind to go back in history, or is it say we'll draw a line?
I think probably just say from now. But it wouldn't have been a lot anyway, but it all adds up over time.
About capital expenditure, like you say, on the bits and pieces that we did spend, what, a couple of years, 18 months ago?
Yeah, those are the only really things that spring to mind.
But I think every little helps.
Exactly. I might do.
I think it's worth a, just a look, just to, you know.
It's probably worth a look,
Yeah.
but not spending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's
The
what I want to
only
look at.
question is, a lot of those were bought via Amazon, because that's the cheapest way of buying it.
Yeah.
And to try and, have you ever tried to see
Yeah,
how much
yeah,
battle there is or isn't,
yeah.
I think you bought via Amazon, it's not that easy to find it.
I think that's a fair
Unless you
point.
get to send you a back receipt,
Yeah.
which then isn't a problem in itself. Some of them, they look, they look at you if you're an alien if you ask for a back receipt, if you just bought another drink in Sainsbury's for a work food.
No. But I think it's worth looking.
Have a look, but don't start to. Right, so duly noted.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thanks to the deputy clerk. That concludes the open session. The date of the next meeting is 24th of June 2026.
I propose a resolution for confidential business in view of the confidential nature of business about to be considered, being staffing or contractual. It is in the public interest that the press and public be excluded, and they are instructed to withdraw. Second. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay.